Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Today on drboycetv.com, we're going to talk about the movie The Color Purple. The Color Purple had some disturbing incidents around this movie, and I'm going to cover all of them. One of them is an allegation of racism by an influencer who was paid to promote the movie. The other is Taraji P Henson complaining that she's not getting paid and that minimum wage just ain't enough. The third has to do with the idea of Warner Brothers owning a movie that somehow we consider to be a black movie. So anyway, get comfortable, buck up seatbelt, hit that thumbs up button. Let me know if you can hear me. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. It's so good to see everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Give me a yes in the chat. Let me know you can hear me okay. Also, shout out your city. I see Dr. Vibe in here. Good to see you, brother. That's a fact. I see you. Let's see, Alfred Kitchen. I see you as well. I see Minister Schultz. I see a lot of good black folks in here. So it's good to see all of you. And even if you ain't black, that's okay. We can forgive you. Everybody can't be perfect. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And what's up to everybody on Instagram? My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. In case you don't know, I was actually, you know what? I stay banned. I stay in Instagram, Facebook jail. Y'all know my story. Like, y'all know that I lost. I had 600. No, it was 500,000 Instagram followers, and then they just killed my whole platform. They were like, "You gotta go, man. You be up into too black." I be talking about Black history. I'm reading books by Dr. Claude Anderson, like the Black History Reader, and apparently something in this book is racist. I don't know. Let's see what could be racist. Let's see here. Here's one thing he says here. I'm open to a random page just to let y'all know why they probably wanted to ban me from Instagram, but it's okay though. Just so you know, I got millions of followers on other platforms, so I was ready for all that. Don't shed no tears for Boyce Watkins. I came in this battle tested, battle ready. All right, anyway, here we go. It says some suggest that there are benefits to blacks splitting their allegiance between 2 political parties. However, that does not strengthen blacks as a group. They are already a planned minority. The white majority voters combined with white ethnic immigrants outnumber black voters 9-1, which implies a no or low chance of blacks winning or being considered. Whites do not need the black vote to get a voting majority to approve whatever it is they want. The only way black voters can be recognized, respected, and become a powerful voting bloc is to form a national independent black political party according to Powernomics principles. So do you think that me reading things like this in public, telling black people that you don't actually have to vote for the Democrats and you don't have to vote for the Republicans, you think that might be why they consider me to be more dangerous than a gangster rapper? Because, you know, gangster rappers, they be rapping about street stuff that'll get you sent to prison. I be rapping about real stuff. Maybe I'm the original gangster rapper because I would tell you what, ain't nothing scarier than an intelligent black person who's not afraid. Seriously, so I understand. I understand why you fear me, as you should, because people like me are the ones who dismantle white supremacy, and that's what we do every day, and we getting it done. We ain't scared of none of y'all. I ain't scared of angry white people. I'm not scared of ignorant black people. So just so you know, your energy is wasted if you're trying to ever intimidate this platform. So y'all can have those 500,000 Instagram followers. We got a whole platform called B1 Nation, b1nation.us. We have almost 100,000 people on the platform. If you want to join there and hang out with other intelligent black people, just go to b1nation.us, not .com, b1nation.us. We're doing stuff every single week. We are getting it done. We're educating our people. We're making it happen. We're changing the culture. When I started talking about wealth in 2006, 2007, wasn't nobody talking about it. Now everybody's talking about it because we are getting it done. And that's why we got the backing of so many great people out here, from Louis Farrakhan to guys like Ice Cube. Kanye West called us last year during the All Black National Convention because he wanted to get a taste of this blackness up in here. Ain't nothing better on this earth. There's no other great greater leadership space, in my opinion, than the space of intelligent Black people. So pat yourselves on the back. Give me a yes. Type the word intelligent in the chat, because we are going to break out of this. I don't want us to be stupid. So sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes elevating ourselves is a little bit painful. Sometimes rising out of the ignorance is a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe we are out of our comfort zone by actually being empowered and not sitting around and feeling sorry for ourselves, but that's okay. We got to keep going. We cannot stop. We must keep it moving. So that's what I want you to do. All right. So thumbs up, share, subscribe. Let's talk about this topic for today. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this interesting thing that I saw regarding the movie The Color Purple. Now, those of you who are on my Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. I shared a video that you guys can take a look at. I'm going to play it on this screen, but if you're on Instagram, you won't see it because you guys are on my phone. So you go to drboycetv.com. You can see this live. Also, we're on Spotify, so you can follow. Just look up my name on Spotify and Apple. We're on about 70 platforms, so they can't really shut us down. So I don't care about those Instagram followers. That's not a big deal. All right, so here's the deal. One of the things that I noticed, and it got me down this stream of consciousness regarding the movie The Color Purple, is that there was this white girl, and I don't even know who she was, but she was apologizing, like really apologizing profusely and really taking full accountability. It was the perfect apology. It was like, I'm really sorry to the Black community. I have no excuses. I totally screwed up. There's no way to explain or justify anything that I did. And I'm like, damn, what did you do? Did you kill a Black baby? Like did you stab an old lady on the street? Like, what did you do, girl? Like, damn. So let me show you what she did. I'm gonna play the video that caused all this controversy, all this racial controversy. And I want y'all to just let me know what y'all think, okay? Now, those of you who are on Instagram, it's on the Instagram, so you won't see it, but you're gonna hear it. And what's up, Ryan McCrary? Ryan McCrary, the funnel doctor, my good brother. So good to see you, man. We had a meeting the other day. I have a lot of respect for this brother. All right, so here's the video. I'm gonna play it, and those on Instagram are gonna hear it. Those on Spotify are gonna hear it, but I'll describe it. So here it goes. Imagine just a random white lady who probably has like millions of followers or something. Warner Brothers paid her to do this promotion for The Color Purple. So here's the video. Y'all ready to just get knocked out of your socks? All right. Here we go.
Thank you to Warner Brothers for sponsoring this video and my crazy ideas. I am, of course, bored of my hair. So today we're doing a little transformation. I was inspired by the movie The Color Purple, and today I'm going to be giving this wig a purple glow up. The movie follows a girl named Celie who lives in Georgia in the 1900s and follows her transformation into the woman she is destined to be. Also, in case you didn't know, the color purple symbolizes royalty, nobility, wealth, power, and ambition. So honestly, for the end of this year, I'm ready to be purple. I think we could all use some purple. I actually love how this turned out. Experience a heartwarming story with the movie The Color Purple and share your purple transformation this holiday season.
Y'all see my face? Yes, I was waiting. I was waiting for the racism to arrive. I don't know about, did y'all? I mean, was there anything? The lady was saying that she's celebrating the movie The Color Purple by dyeing her hair purple. I don't get. Am I missing something? Was there like a Klan rally happening inside her hair? Like, what was there? Was there like some subliminal KKK messaging? Like, like did she secretly whisper "kill all Black people"? Like under her breath. Like, where's the race? The lady did a video for Warner Brothers saying that and apparently she's a hair influencer or something, and she's like, because of the color purple, I'm going to dye my hair purple because I think purple is powerful and sexy and represents royalty. What? And her apology. I wish I had her apology. I put her apology on my Instagram. It's Dr. Boyce Finance. You got to see, if you want a good laugh, go look at her. Like, she's apologizing. She's almost apologizing like she's the lady that got Emmett Till killed. Like, that's how heavy her apology was. I'm like, damn, you must have really messed up because you are one apologetic white woman. And Lord knows we can appreciate, someone who takes accountability for their actions, right? There's so many people who have harmed us who will never apologize. Like Joe Biden, I'd love to see him do a formal apology and some sort of reparation for putting like 1 million Black men in prison and destroying 1 million Black families. But y'all forgot about that because I guess y'all just forget about people once they go to jail or something. I have no idea. But really, I saw this video and I'm like, what is she apologizing for? So here's the problem. Here's the risk. Here's the issue that you run into so here's what probably happened. This lady she's trying to be a good person, right? I do believe that there are lots of white people who really don't want to be racist people. I really do. I really believe that. And I try to look at your intent as opposed to just what you said. If you say something ignorant, I might just correct you. But if you're not really trying to be harmful, I'm not going to treat you the same as I would treat somebody who's really trying to be harmful. Right? Do you get what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And maybe that makes me weak or a little bit like it sounds like I'm cooning, but that's not cooning. That's just being a good person. There's nothing coonery about being just a good human being and understanding somebody's intent. I'll give you a real life example. When I was 16 years old, there was this little girl named Diane who was that I worked with at Taco Bell. I used to work at Taco Bell, and that was when I discovered my first girlfriend. I also discovered sex, and 9 months later, we had a baby. So stay away from Taco Bell. Tacos will get you in trouble every time. But anyway, so I'm at Taco Bell, and we're stirring the meat. And I'm stirring the meat next to this lady named Diane. And Diane is a little short, little pudgy girl. She was from the hills of West Virginia. So she was real country, but real cool. She was, she had a little black boyfriend and also so. And we were just talking. And I'm talking to Diana. I'm like, oh, so tell me about your family. And she says, well, my brother went to prison for 10 years. I said, really? What did your brother go to prison for? She said, oh, he killed a Igor. I'm not going to say the N word because you can't say it on YouTube. She's like, oh, he killed a Igor. And she didn't even stop in mid stroke to like block the punch I might throw at her head. Like she said it like she was just telling me that it was 82 degrees outside. And I said, what did you say? She said, he killed a Igor. And like, didn't you hear me the first time? Like, what do you And I was like, do you understand that's not, you can't say that. Like, I'm 16, 17 explaining this to her. I'm like, that's an offensive word. And she's like, I'm sorry, I just didn't know. She said, where I'm from, that's what we just called all the black people. Like that, I kid you not. And so how can you really be mad at that? Right? I corrected her. I said, your boyfriend's black too. And she's like, yeah, he's one too, right? But she didn't, and so I think that intent can be considered, right? So I don't think that this lady making the video about having purple colored hair to celebrate the movie The Color Purple had any ill intent whatsoever. And here's the thing. What I think probably happened is that some buffoon on Instagram or Twitter decided to go off on her and attack her and try to cancel her because allegedly her purple hair offended them somehow, or somehow they felt that maybe she was culturally appropriating, or I don't know. I have no idea. But whatever it is stupid. And I feel like there's a danger there, because what happens is that when you're forcing well-intended people to apologize for racism that really isn't racism, what happens is that the real racism gets swept under the rug. When you show up and you talk about real racism, people don't hear you because it sounds like you're crying wolf every single time somebody just says, oh, you did that to me because I'm black, or you being racist right now. And a lot of people who talk about racism don't even know what racism is. They don't. And if you want to understand it better, Dr. Claude Anderson does a great job of breaking it down and explaining how systematic racism works. That's the culprit. We study Dr. Anderson's books every single Wednesday in the Black Business School, by the way. You can join that class for free. You can just I'll put the URL on the screen. It's blackkeystogreatness.com. Every Wednesday night, we've been doing this for 3 years. We've educated tens of thousands of people on powernomics principles, because you got to learn economics if you want to succeed in America. If you don't learn your economics, then you're always going to be stressed out. You're always going to be frustrated. You're always going to be mad. You're always going to feel like you're failing. It's never going to win. You're never going to win. Like Michael Jackson in The Wiz, you can't win, you can't break even, and you can't get out of the game. So ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't learn your economics and your powernomics, black people, let me just I'm going to tell you over and over again, you will not win. Your children will be complaining about the same things you're complaining about. So Dr. Claude Anderson is one of those people that has actual solutions. So if you want to join us, we're studying this stuff. I'm reading the books out loud for people that don't want to necessarily read. You can go to blackkeystogreatness.com. You can join for free. So here's the deal. When you talk about racism, I get very frustrated when people bring things to me that they think represent racism, but it's really not racism. You say, they over there, they racist because I heard that they don't like blacks. I don't care if you like me. Why the hell am I sitting around? What in your white supremacist mind makes you so obsessed with whether or not a white person likes you? Is that all you need, is for somebody to lie and tell you that they like you? Is your self-esteem that depleted? Are you really that, do you really think that low of yourself that you need somebody else to tell you that they like you in order for you to feel like you're a worthy human being? that means you probably need a therapist, because your self-esteem should have been given to you by your mama or your daddy or both, or by your own community. I don't think that there's a white person on the planet that ever sat around and said, I wonder if Boyce Watkins likes me. They don't care. I don't think there's an Asian person anywhere who sits around saying, "Gosh, I wonder if Arabs like me. Do you like me? Do you like me? I don't know if you like me. Just tell me that you like me, and that's enough. Like that's all I need, because I don't really like myself, right?" So this idea of sort of wondering whether or not somebody likes you is a very flawed perception of racism, and it's the fake racism that keeps us from getting to the real racism. If you really want to talk about real racism, here's one example. And I talked about this the other day. I'm going to say it again now, and I want you to process this. Once you go to any major city, I want you to go to either Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Seattle, LA, any major city, and I want you to look around and look. I want you to look at how many skyscrapers, how many $100 million, billion-dollar skyscrapers there are in those cities. You're probably going to count hundreds, maybe thousands in every city. In Chicago, thousands. New York, thousands. You go to even smaller cities like Louisville, Kentucky, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands. And then I want you to go and I want you to find out I want you to see. I will give anybody $100 if you can find 5 of those $100 million skyscrapers that are owned by Black people. You got thousands to choose from, thousands now, billion-dollar buildings, thousands of them. Find me 5 in any city that are owned by Black people. Do you follow what I'm saying? Go to Denver. Go see if you can find $500 million, $200 million buildings in downtown Denver that are owned by Black people. What do you think? Yes or no? You think you can find any buildings like that? What do you think? What do y'all think? Yes or no? Well, the answer is hell to the no. You're not going to find any. Why? Well, because the racism, part of the racism is that you've been completely blocked out of the entire economic system. And what's crazy is that nobody really talks about this in every election. Everybody's talking about Black Lives Matter and whether or not white people like me. I don't give a damn if you like me. Just pay me my damn money. Give me my nickels. Give me something. Give me back what is owed to me. And you can call me the biggest bastard in the world. You can hate my guts. I don't care. Me and my family gonna be on the yacht. We won't even hear what you have to say, because we're gonna be chilling in our yacht in our mansion and running our businesses. We don't care if you like us or not. We try to do Rothschild family over here. We ain't trying to sit around waiting for whether or not you like me. I don't care about that. So effectively, what I'm saying to you is that that you got to focus on the real racism. What's another version of real racism? Well, I still don't understand for the life of me why nobody is as pissed off as I am about how they dismantled and destroyed your families with Joe Biden's mass incarceration policies from the 1990s. It is beyond me why nobody's sitting where everybody's sort of crying over the George Floyd incident, over one guy in one situation. Nobody is thinking about the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of Black men and women that are rotting away in the penitentiaries right now. Your uncle, your cousin, your son, your potential husband. A lot of you ladies can't find a husband because your husband's rotting away in a jail cell somewhere over a crime he committed in 1992 because of the 3 strikes laws, and nobody cares. It's crazy to me. Like they committed a Holocaust against you in broad daylight. Don't talk to me about Adolf Hitler. Talk to me about Joe Biden Hitler. That's what I want to talk about. I want to hear. You had a Holocaust committed against you in broad daylight, and y'all just move on. You shaking your booty to it. You listening to hip hop music glorifying the mass murder of Black people being funded by people who are not Black. Hip hop music cannot get marketed without money, without capital. I can confirm this. I'm a finance PhD. Y'all know my background. I have to repeat it because people think that I'm just running my mouth. No, I'm a professor. I've been teaching finance for 30 years now. So this funding, without this money, without somebody writing a check, without somebody using their economic power for your destruction, this music that you're hearing that is literally celebrating, getting everybody shaking their booties to mass murder of Black people is being funded by the people who want you dead. They want your son dead. This is real stuff. This is destroying real families. Let me tell you just what happened in my life in this week alone. This is real stuff. A lot of y'all got similar stories. 2 things. Number 1, there's a woman who is part of our group. Y'all heard me talk about her. Her name is Robin Simpson. Robin Simpson was murdered in Houston by her husband, according to her daughter, because it happened in front of her 8-year-old daughter. He stabbed her over 100 times, cut her heart out of her body, cut her brain out of her body. And it was because the police were sitting in the backyard and they did not go in. The Houston police are still not releasing the 911 call of what happened to this woman. And then on top of that, I don't understand why everyone can cry over the George Floyd incident, but have nothing to say about this woman who was stabbed over 100 times in front of her daughter and had her brain and her heart cut out of her body. I don't understand it. I don't get it. This is the real violence that exists in your communities. Now, can you blame it all on the music or whoever? I don't care who you blame. It's not about who you blame. It's about the fact that your community has fallen to shit. What also happened this week? Just this morning, my wife told me about her student who's an older student. She's in her 40s. Her 21-year-old son pulls out a gun and pops his mama and murders his mama and then calls the police and turns himself in right after he kills his mama. This is par for the course. This is what has happened to your community. These are the things I'm getting these stories every single week, and I'm really stunned that I'm the only one who's alarmed at this level. I hope that you're as alarmed as I am. I hope you get why I am yelling right now. What in the hell is happening? What is going on? How is it that I heard it 2 hours ago? My wife rolls over and shows me a picture. I don't have his name and her name in front of me. I should grab it. But seriously, it's crazy. So y'all, because white people will tell you on CNN that you should cry for George Floyd, you'll cry for him all day, but you don't protect your black women. You don't care nothing about your black women. Black women getting murdered every day and don't nobody care. Young black men being shot up in the streets, nobody cares. Everybody wants to think everything's okay. Everything ain't okay. So if you want to talk about the real racism in America, the racism that I see, when I look at racism, I'm looking at the devastation in terms of broken families. I'm looking at the economic betrayal that has occurred in this country where you're locked out of economic systems. You got Taraji P Henson. Let's circle back to The Color Purple. Taraji P Henson sitting over here. It's crazy to me. Taraji is one of the most famous actresses on this earth and is still on TV complaining and being sad about how much money she's making on this movie. That she's literally like, they don't pay me enough and I'm really sad and it makes me cry. And I'm trying to understand what's really happening here. I get it. I see what's going on. Now, some of y'all might think I'm all over the place, but follow me here. Stick with me here because I'm gonna take you back to exactly where we need to be. I'm gonna help you understand how this all connects. So I'm sitting here like, why is Taraji P Henson, one of the most famous actresses on the planet, crying on TV because she's not getting paid? Does she work at Burger King? Is she is she mad because they're not giving her extra shifts at FedEx? Like, no, wait, she's a famous actress. She's achieved the American dream. She's the little black girl who grew up dreaming about being a Hollywood actress, and now she got the dream. So why is Taraji crying because she's not getting paid enough? That doesn't make sense. Why is Terrence Howard, her co-star in Empire, also filing a lawsuit against Creative Arts Agency saying he's not getting paid enough? Why is Diddy, the billionaire, the big loudmouth SOB who's always talking but ain't never getting nothing done, always talking about what he gonna do but don't never do it? Why is he sitting on TV talking about, man, they racist, y'all, they treat me bad on my job, y'all? And we're like, Diddy, we thought you were a boss. We thought you owned the Diego brand. Why are you talking like you're like you want them to increase your pay by 20%? Like, we don't understand what's happening here. Well, what's interesting is these are examples of fake racism versus real racism. So they're all correct. And if they all say, Dr. Boyce, this is racism, I'm gonna be like, you're absolutely correct. But the difference is that the racism they're looking at is not the racism I'm looking at. The racism they're looking at is below the rim, beneath the floor. I'm looking at the racism that's above the rim. I play above the rim. But again, I have that ability because my background in finance, right? Because I've been studying finance since I was 18 years old. So I can see what's happening above the rim. And you're looking below the rim. So here's what I think Taraji sees when she talks about the racism of why she's not being paid well on The Color Purple and other movies. And I really wouldn't be surprised if she's even mad at Oprah. Because Oprah understands the game. Y'all might not like Oprah, but Oprah understands the game at a level that other people do not. That's why you ain't never heard Oprah do a press conference complaining about how little she's getting paid. Am I right or am I right? Have y'all ever heard Oprah Winfrey say, it's really bad that they just won't pay me because I'm a black woman. They just don't want to pay black women what they deserve. And then Harpo, who this woman? This ain't right, Harpo. And you don't hear Oprah crying over her salary. Well, why? Well, because Oprah doesn't have a salary. Oprah understood the game better than everybody. I give her credit for that. I don't even agree with everything Oprah says and does, but it doesn't matter if I agree because Oprah doesn't care if I like her or not. But Taraji, on the other hand, is very upset. Well, she would say this is racism, and I'd be like, okay, what do you mean by racism? So they probably say something like, well, you know how they do us. They don't pay us the same as they pay the white actresses. I saw Scarlett Johansson do a movie and she got 10 million and I got 3 million or half a million. I did a movie with Benjamin Button with Brad Pitt. He got 10 million. I only got 150,000. And I would say, yeah, but I'm sorry, Taraji, but you're not white. You're not a white person. Like do you understand? You're complaining about what's happening inside the cage, but you haven't thought about who built the cage, who controls the cage. Like you're right. So you're facing institutional racism, and you don't understand the very nature of the institution that you're committed to. You signed up for this game, Taraji, and I'm not saying that this shouldn't have happened to you. I want you to I think you deserve $1 billion a year. I love your movies. I love you since Baby Boy, but that's not your world. You do understand, like in the Black Business School, Taraji, I want you to join the Black Business School. We have famous people in the Black Business School, actually, and one of them is the guy from New Edition, and New Edition. I love the fact that they figured out how they make money together better than they can make money apart. All of them went solo and all that. Y'all know the whole history. Bobby Brown going this way and Ralph Tresvant going that way and BBD going that way. And I love the fact that they actually applied one of the principles from my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, where they realized that the best thing they could do for themselves is to find a way to keep working with each other. And to this day, New Edition is going to cities all around the world, selling out shows. I bet each of those guys is making $5 to $10 million a year. God bless them. That's an economic principle, y'all, by the way. So anyway, let's circle back with Taraji. I would say to Taraji, I'd say, well, in the Black Business School, we have all of our students read a book called An Empire of Their Own, How the Jews Invented Hollywood. And this book is a remarkable story about what institution building looks like. And so if you look at Warner Brothers, the company that owns The Color Purple is not a black movie. It is not a black movie. It is a white movie with black characters in it because they target that specific demographic. They love to use your stories, and because the stories are good. They also love to use your audience because we're a very loyal audience. And we'll go see the movie thinking we're supporting a black movie when really we're supporting Warner Brothers. And if you look at the history of Warner Brothers, you'll know that Warner Brothers was started when one of the Warner Brothers family members sold the family horse and started showing movie pictures in a barn because at that time this new technology was these moving pictures, which is similar. It was for them. It was similar to how we kind of look at AI or the internet, right? So at that time, these new moving pictures, this new technology led them to take a big risk that a lot of us will never take, where they sold the family horse and said, let's create a studio, quote unquote, where we show movies in our barn, and we're going to call it Warner Brothers. So 100 years later, Warner Brothers owns The Color Purple. Warner Brothers, I believe they also own A Different World. One of my good friends was in that show, A Different World. He played Dwayne Wayne's best friend, Ron, and he's a very smart guy. I love him. He knows finance really well. That's why Daryl Bell, that's his name. He's a great buddy of mine, and I love him. And he told me that the reason that they can't do a reboot of A Different World is because Warner Brothers is sitting on top of that asset saying, you might think this is your movie, but it's really not. It's really our movie. You just got attached to it. Well, why? Well, because you as Black people have never understood the power of ownership, and you actually will get attached to things that you don't actually own. You commit the horrible economic sin of falling in love with a man, or falling in love with a woman that's married to somebody else. That asset, these movies that you love, from A Different World to or these shows to Color Purple to the Black Panther, are all assets that are owned by other people, but we'll fall in love with them as if they belong to us. Right. So then when they take them away, or when they don't pay us what we deserve, or we don't get our correct piece of the pie, we sit back and say, this ain't right, y'all. This is racism. This is racism. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. It is a type of racism, but the racism is much deeper than what you think. The racism that you're referring to is this fantasy that white people and black people can all work in the same organizations and be treated the same. I don't believe that. I know that that is simply not true. Typically, organizational employees are, you know how they say God is created in his image, right? He created you in his own image, right? Well, organizations, to some extent, the founders of those organizations are like economic gods. And as economic gods, they tend to create the culture and the employee base in their own image. So that means if I'm a blonde haired, blue eyed white boy, I'm typically probably going to hire a lot of blonde haired, blue eyed white boys, because when they do the job interview, I'm going to say, son, I see something in you that I saw in myself. So I like this kid. And that's what's going to happen. So when your little black ass shows up and you're begging for scraps because your mama, nobody left you an inheritance, nobody taught you about economics, nobody taught you how to own or control anything. So you're showing up and you're begging for a job, you're begging for scraps. That's exactly what they're going to give you. They're going to give you the scraps. A desperate person has no negotiating power whatsoever. A person with no options, and I teach classes on options, by the way, in the Black Business School. We did stock options last night. A lot of y'all were there. drboyceprime.com if you want to take a look, drboyceprime.com. And a person with no options cannot properly negotiate anything. So if you ever want to understand why black people get just bent over and booty jabbed every time we sit down and have a negotiation, it's because, I want you to ask yourself, well, what options does that person have? Where can that person go that's going to give them actual leverage in the negotiation? Now, some people are getting this. Some people are understanding this. Right now in the world of sports, I see a lot. I see Stephen A. and what's his name, Shannon Sharp, and these other guys. They're doing other things, right? They have their little YouTube channels and all that. Well, why do you think Stephen A. Smith created a YouTube channel? Well, because now he's got leverage against ESPN. He says, hey, I got this big audience online and I'm making $3 million a year on my YouTube channel. So you better pay me more next time and to get me to want to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and go into that studio. I never want. I haven't wanted. I have not wanted Stephen A. Smith's job for about 7 or 8 years. Because literally, maybe when I was younger, when I was making like 6 figures, when I was at Syracuse, I would have died for that job. But that, to me, that would have been considered a dream job. But later on, when I became an owner and an investor, and I owned assets, and I learned how to do little things like make money without actually working, I would look at those guys on ESPN that are getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning to go to that damn studio, and I felt sorry for them. I said, I don't care how many millions of dollars you're getting paid. That's gotta suck to have to get up that early every single morning and spend your whole damn day in that studio around all these annoying people. I just didn't get. So I think Stephen A. is getting to a point where he's saying, I really don't want to have to get up and leave my house every day. I want to spend time with my kids, time with my woman, time with whatever, his dog. I don't know what he's got in his life. But still, though, I think that we have to really start rethinking our economics and our approach to economics so we don't end up in these weird situations where you have somebody as famous, somebody as powerful, somebody with a brand as big as Taraji P Henson who's still complaining about the fact that she's not getting paid enough. That tells me that her daddy and her mama did not do a good enough job of explaining to her how economics works and why Warner Brothers still at her old age of 50 still has so much control over her life, and all she feels she has the right to do is walk around mad. I feel bad for her. I want better for her. I would hate to see that. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My website is boycewatkins.com. I have a new book called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Also, we're doing a 30-day financial consciousness training that starts January 1st. So for 30 straight days, it takes 30 days to form a new habit. So we're going to meet 30 straight days every morning at 10 a.m. And then we're going to do a financial lesson. And we're going to fill out this reflective journal I put together called 30 Days to Wealth and Power. And so with each of the days, we're going to ask a reflective question. I'm going to have you fill it out. So there's a lot of empty space here because I want you to fill this out. And as you fill this out, this will be your wealth consciousness plan. This is going to be, when you're done with the 30 days, you will have a plan for what you're going to execute in 2024 and beyond for yourself and for your family. And also so if you want to join the class, the cost of the class is $299, but you can actually get in. I can let you go in live for free if you get a copy of the book. So if you'd like to get a copy of the book, just go to drboycebooks.com. In the search box at the top, search for the word 30 days to Black Wealth and Power, and we can mail you the book. Now, if you get the book now, today's the 23rd, it may not arrive before class begins. So if you want to get it right away, you can get the e-copy. In fact, what we can do is give everybody the e-copy in case your physical book has not yet arrived, but also you can get the physical book, which will actually give you a plan you can hold on to. So if that's of interest to you, feel free. drboycebooks.com. The book is 30 Days to Wealth and Power. The search box is at the top of the page. All right. So let's let's go a little further here and let's talk about this movie, The Color Purple. Okay. So first point that we made earlier is that by attacking this poor white lady, I showed you all this video where she didn't do anything racist, but everyone, for some reason, someone said she's racist, so she's apologizing. I think that takes attention away from the real racism that exists in America. I hope I can persuade you to consider that. Number two, I think that Taraji P Henson complaining about pay, it makes me very, very sad because I think that she's too old, she's too established, she's too popular to have those kinds of problems. I'd be curious to know what sort of how her financial situation is set up. I'm not making fun of her. It just doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you. Also, I'm going to say this. When you talk about this movie, The Color Purple, I think you have to be very careful about Black stories that are owned by white people. One of the things that happens when other people own the media that you're consuming is those people use their economic power to shape your culture. And I talk a lot about culture and what wealth culture looks like. In my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I literally spend the whole time talking about what an economic culture looks like. And your culture is not an economic culture because those who control capital don't really want the masses, especially Black people, hardworking soldiers that you are. They don't really want you to really understand ownership and control of assets. What they want you to understand is how to do your damn job. They want you to understand how to show up on time every day. They want you to learn how to go to college, give them $100,000 of your family wealth so you can get this piece of paper that certifies you to go work for another white man so they can pass you around like a $2 economic hoe. That's what they do. They literally pass us around. They say, oh, I can get them when they're young. Send them to the public schools. We make billions of dollars not educating Black kids in the public schools. They're making billions of dollars from the media that your children are consuming. They make billions of dollars when you go to these universities and go so deep in debt that you can never get out of debt. And then they make billions of dollars when you go work for them after you're done. This is a bad plan. This is a failed strategy. Tell me where I'm wrong. Very few Black people who go down that path end up becoming successful. Somebody asked me the other day, he was a therapist. Now, in case you don't know, in the Black Business School, my lovely wife, helped me create the first ever Black financial therapy department because we wanted to understand the psychological and cultural barriers to building Black wealth. And there was a therapist who asked me, he said, he's a white guy. He asked the question, again, I look at intent. I don't care if your question sounds a little racist. If I know you, then I'm not going to, and I don't care what you think about me anyway. So he asked me this honest question. He said, why do so many Black men feel like they don't want to follow the rules, or that they don't like being told what to do? And I just told him, I said, well, you're probably talking about me because I've always been a rule breaker. I've been kind of the bad boy my whole life, just an intellectual version of the bad boy. I ain't no thug. I ain't gonna go shoot nobody, but I always broke the rules, even going back to elementary school. And I said, to be honest with you, I think that that the reason so many intelligent Black men break the rules is because they understand that the men who follow the rules end up being led down the path of death and destruction. That when you follow the rules, you're being led down a path that's going to lead you to some sort of slavery or control by other people. If you do what everybody tells you to do, then you're pretty much going to get used up, screwed over like everyone else. And if you look around this country, most American workers feel like they're being screwed. Most people that went to college and got $100,000, $200,000 in debt, they feel like they got screwed. A lot of people that just follow the rules, that sit down and shut up and do what they're told, they don't feel good about that. They don't end up saying, gosh, I'm so glad that I did exactly what the white man told me to do, because historically the exploitation of Black people has always been a multi-billion-dollar industry. So I said, why on this earth or any other planet would I ever sit around and wait for somebody to tell me what to do, especially when I'm smarter than you, when I have more knowledge than you? The men that I look up to and the women that I look up to are people who didn't follow the rules. I look up to the Marcus Garveys. Why do you think they don't teach you about Marcus Garvey in school? Because Marcus didn't follow the rules, right? Why do you think they don't tell you about the A.G. Gaston? A.G. Gaston was a multimillionaire at a time where Black people barely had scraps. Well, why? Well, because he didn't follow the rules. Right? Malcolm X was a great man. Why was he great? Well, because he didn't follow the rules. Muhammad Ali was extraordinary. He was a legend. Well, why? Well, because he didn't follow the rules. To hell with your rules. I follow God's rules. I follow rules that come from the Spirit. I'm not following nothing that don't make sense to me. You got to save that conversation for the sheep. And I think, honestly, that any Black man who really is going to be successful in this world has got to break the rules on some level. Not every rule. I mean, at some point you submit to something. At some point you submit to a code, right? You submit to some hierarchy that you believe in. And I think that's okay. We all submit to something, but I'm not going to submit to nothing that don't make sense to me. I'm not going to do nothing just because everybody else is doing it. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to follow none of that. right? So I personally think that ultimately, at the end of the day, I think breaking the rules means figuring out what life is supposed to look like for you as a free and intelligent Black person. Like, what is that supposed to look like? What does that look like? And I can't tell you that, but I can definitely tell you that when I look at Taraji P Henson crying about how she's not getting enough pay, and she's a world famous actress who has achieved every dream imaginable in a horrible place like Hollywood, I see a person who has probably made extraordinary sacrifices that you would not believe. She's super talented, super smart, but also, if I'm not mistaken, I think that she worked with this agent who was melanin deficient. And this agent was accused later on of, shall we say, pulling his penis out to young Black actresses in exchange for golden opportunities. Now I got to go look this up. I got to go double check and confirm this. But I believe that there was an agent that she worked with, because I know an actress in Hollywood who got that same opportunity to make that same indecent trade, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, the indecent proposal. She got a proposal like that. And here's what the guy did. And this is how people use their economics to control you. It's very important for you to understand this so you don't serve your kids up to the crazy pedophile exploitative people in Hollywood. The debauchery is real, and it's very, very deep. And what this woman told me was that she met this guy who was an agent who basically said, I think you're really talented. I think I can help you. I really want to see you as a movie star. I can see you starring in big films. Well, she's a young Black girl who came to Hollywood so she could be successful, right? That's the whole dream. And so this is a dream come true for her. So he takes her to the Academy Awards, because he wants to impress her, right? Then he takes her to dinner at some restaurant, Crustaceans or something, where the bill is like $700 or $800, and then he gets her on the phone. She said, according to her story, she said she got on the phone with Halle Berry, where he's like, "Hey, Halle, I want you to speak to somebody real quick," right? So she's a young Black girl, Halle Berry. Oh my God, I admire you so much. Blah 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 blah, right? And then she says, I kid you not, right before he's about to put her on and really do these amazing things for her, like he allegedly did for these other people, he whips out his dingaling, and he basically just says, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. That was the offer. And I think this is how things happen pretty regularly in Hollywood. And I personally just think that you should be offended, especially I just think about this as a girl dad. I'm a girl dad, right? And I believe in the protection of Black women. And I think, and as a girl dad, I'm deeply offended by this idea that this other man, that I've left my child in such a desperate position that she has to do something highly inappropriate with this old man just so she can pay her rent, so she can pay her bills. You understand? I feel that as men and as women too, all of us really, as people that are proud. Like, are you proud? I'm a proud guy. Are you a proud woman? Are you a proud man? Type the word proud in the chat if you agree with me. I think that as proud people, we should be very offended, very insulted if there are other people who are taking care of our children and looking at our children as if they need them because we can't come through for them, right? Because their daddy died and didn't even get an insurance policy, so they had to use a GoFundMe account to pay for their daddy's funeral if the daddy was around, or that nobody ever invested for that child when they were young, so that child has no assets, so she's showing up to Hollywood broke. I mean, if you really want to know a recipe for absolute disaster, send your child to Hollywood with no money. There will be plenty of people that will be glad to put a couple nickels in your daughter's pocket to get her to do some of the most horrible things you can imagine. And then what's really crazy is that all that debauchery, all that mental illness, all that just ungodly, unbelievable behavior. I say ungodly, not because I'm religious, but I'm trying to find the right terms to describe just disgusting. It gets cloaked over if the person ends up becoming successful. So if they end up becoming a big star, then you forget about the fact that person's also a drug addict. They become a big star. You forget about the fact that person has done some things sexually that they never would have done otherwise, right? If they become a big star, you forget about how many times they had to sell their soul just to get that new opportunity. And the devil comes for a payment every single week. He don't say, "Oh, you pay me once and you can benefit for life." No, he shows up every week, every time, because literally they look at a Taraji and they say, "Well, what have you done for us lately?" Yeah, you were big in 2022, but this is 2024. Now you're going to have to re-up and re-earn your opportunity. So I think that some of what you hear when you hear about an actress or actor who just complains about the fact that they're not getting what they deserve, I think it's deeper than just the money. It's deeper than just, I need to get paid a little bit more. I think it's more like them saying, look at all the sacrifices I made and I'm still not where I want to be. And now I'm in my 50s and I don't know how many years I have left doing this. And I'm very, very upset about this. And I think that's where the tears might have been coming from. Okay. I don't want that for your kids. I really don't. I really don't. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. I got a daughter that wants to be an actress, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, okay. All right, so let's talk about business. Let's talk about business models. Let's talk about the fact that you don't have to be in Hollywood in order for you to be successful. Let's talk about what that looks like for you to fulfill your dream. Let's talk about how dad can come through to make sure you got some wealth so you're not doing desperate things in order to get money. These are the types of protections that you have to give your kids. These are things we have to teach as a culture. And any proud parent has to prepare their child for this because, as Dr. Anderson says in the book Powernomics, powernomics.com is his website, by the way. I hope you will support this man. He's a godsend. He says that it is criminal. It is criminal and it is child abuse to send your child with no nickels in their pocket across town to beg their oppressor to give them an opportunity that you did not try to give them yourself. He said it is criminal for us to send our children out there. So because y'all know how crazy Hollywood is, some of it's starting to leak out. I personally believe that it's not going to get out to the extent that it really should. I think that there's still a whole lot more under the surface that they won't discuss. Well, why? Well, because they control the media and they can control what the media actually picks up. All right. So do me a favor, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you have not done that yet. Also, I send out profit alerts. I send out stocks that I like. If you haven't gotten on the list, just text the word stock to 89748. If you text stock to 89748, I will send you stocks that I like. Also, if you text stock to 89748, we'll send you the $5 a day investing plan that we have that will take any family from poverty to wealth in less than a generation. I'll also send you a training I did, a very popular training on how to make money without working. And also, we're doing a live wealth building training camp for children on the 26th through the 28th. So the 26th through the 28th, one of our guest faculty members, Asia Kirkendall, who is the author of the book Quantum Wealth Theory, is going to meet with your kids for 3 straight days. And when they get done, they will have tools that will last them for life. So there is the fee to join the class is $299. But because you're here, there's a 76% off discount. So it's $71 for lifetime access. And you can bring as many kids as you want. You pay one membership fee. All your kids can share the same login. It's totally fine. We're not here to milk as much money as we can. We just want to have enough money to continue the mission in the Black Business School, which is to make our people top of the earth when it comes to economics. So if you want me to send you the link will go out today about 6:00 p.m. Text the word stock, STOCK, to 89748. Somebody type 89748 in the chat. So if you type the word stock in the text message, send it to the number 89748. You'll be on the list. You'll get that link to get 71% off, and you can join us there. All right. So let's finish up with this Warner Brothers Taraji conversation, Color Purple. Okay. So we talked about the fake racism versus the real racism. In case you just got here, you can go back to the beginning of the video where we talked about that. We talked about Warner Brothers and the ownership of what is considered to be a Black movie, ownership by white companies. I think that's a flawed strategy. I don't think that works. I think that we get attached to things that don't actually belong to us. That's not healthy. What's the next thing we talked about? We talked about Taraji and the underpayment of Black actors and actresses and how that's pretty much going to continue until you actually make the sacrifice of ownership. What is effectively and incredibly important is that we consider, like, what is it that we're doing, that we're sacrificing for now, that's going to lead to wealth and power for the next generation. I really think it's important for us as Black people to really think about that. The last piece to this, too, is I'm going to tell you like this. I'm not going to go see the movie The Color Purple. I'm just not. And the reason I'm not is because, I'm sorry, but there's something very disturbing to me about white men getting together with Black women to make a movie about how horrible Black men are. I don't know if y'all think that's weird or not, but there's a consistent narrative that you hear on a regular basis of where Black women are better off being around white men because Black men are just so terrible. Black men are just so harmful. And in fact, actually, I saw some of that It was a good movie. I don't regret seeing it. In fact, I even recommend it if you like this kind of thing. I went to see the new Willy Wonka movie actually, and the Willy Wonka movie was so good and so interesting. And I saw the original tale when I was a little kid, and I just liked the story, right? And it was a prequel. And the Willy Wonka movie was actually quite deep in a couple of ways. One was it really showed the corporate plantation in the sense that Willy Wonka is this young 20-year-old who has this big dream of creating the best chocolate in all of London. And what happens is he signs a bad contract with the hotel he's staying in, where he ends up owing all this money. And so, in order to repay the debt, they force him into slavery. They force him to work in the laundry room. So what happens is Willy Wonka's dream almost dies because he has to go to work every day, because he's forced to work in this basement, right? And I told our son, I said, this is how student loans work. They get you so deep in debt that you can never repay the debt, and so your dream dies because you spend your whole life on the corporate plantation trying to repay the debt that can never be repaid. I said, welcome to capitalism. Capitalism needs its soldiers, it needs its slaves, and a lot of us sign our children up for slavery. However, here's another aspect of the Willy Wonka movie that I did not like, and it reminded me of The Color Purple. So I watched the movie and I analyzed it carefully. I like the fact that there were lots of black people in the movie. The co-star, Willy Wonka's little sidekick, was a little black girl named Buttons or something. I forget. Noodle, that was her name. And then there were other black characters, and two or three of them were very evil. Like the Slugworth, the most evil antagonist, he was a black guy. And then the police chief was like this terrible black guy who was doing these terrible things. And it made me sort of process like this interesting narrative that I've seen in other places, that the black woman is under this sort of irreparable harm from the black man, that the black man will not come through for you, the black man will abandon you, the black man will abuse you, the black man will mistreat you, and then you go into the arms of the white Willy Wonka in order to be safe and secure. And so I saw the same thing with The Color Purple. If you watch the original movie, The Color Purple, there was rarely any black man in The Color Purple that was really like a good guy. Anybody else notice that? And then if you want to understand that where that comes from, well, think about this, right? Well, first of all, the movie's made by a studio that's not run by black people, right? Warner Brothers, I think they might have owned the original film, distribution rights to the original film, and the producer was Steven Spielberg. And then if you look deeper and you look at the book was written by Alice Walker. I don't think Alice Walker had a lot of good things to say about black men. I don't think Alice Walker ever did. Don't get me wrong, double check that, but she didn't date men, right? I think she, kind of had the angry feminist kind of vibe about her. And this speaks. I felt it again when I saw how many black women were fantasizing about Meghan Markle marrying the rich slave owner over across the sea when she married Prince Harry, whose family literally made billions of dollars robbing and killing and murdering black people all around the world and then keeping all their stuff, right? And I kind of think that The Color Purple, I will say this, it offends me as a black man because there is a constant belief that there are people who are not black who feel that they have to save the black woman from the terrible black man. And what happens though too is that it's so unfair to black men, because there's so many good brothers out here. There's so many men like myself who love black women, who will defend black women, who will fight for black women. But then you know what they tend to do is they tend to market the assholes. They tend to market like, the rappers. Like I remember rapper Snoop Dogg coming to an award show in 1999 where he had two women on a leash. The two women were actually on a leash, and he was with a pimp, Bishop Magic Don Juan. And Snoop Dogg's most famous line was, "We don't love them hoes." And so what they tend to do is they promote the black male as this sort of subhuman, debaucherous animal who doesn't love women, doesn't even love his own children, who will kill anybody on sight. But because these guys are rich and famous, there are women who actually find these men to be attractive. I have no idea why. I don't understand that. And what happens is that the good men, the men who are really holding it down for the community, the ones who are really raising their kids, doing the right thing, loving some woman, as much as they can, coming through for their mama and their whole family, defending the whole hood, those guys don't get covered on TV. Those guys are not interesting. Those guys are boring. So a lot of this idea, this narrative of the black man being terrible and the black woman needing to either protect herself or run off into the arms of a white guy, I see that in The Color Purple, and I find that very offensive. Another movie that had the same narrative and the same energy, and I think a lot of this comes from that Gloria Steinem-ish white feminism. Again, if you're a feminist, I'm not trying to offend you. You have a right to be a feminist if that's what you want to be. I'm not judging that at all. I believe in equal rights for women too. We all do. I hope we do. But if you went to see that Harriet Tubman movie, did anybody else see that Harriet Tubman movie? It was absolutely unbelievable. Even my wife and I went to see this movie, and we couldn't help but laugh because here's what's crazy about that movie. Every piece of the agenda, and y'all know the agenda is real. The people in Hollywood know how to use their money to pursue whatever political agenda or ideological agenda they want to pursue, and they market those agendas through the films. That's what they do. So in this movie, every part of the agenda was there. Let's just say that. Let's just say every part of the agenda was there. I'm not going to go into details on that, but I will say that what was also crazy about that movie was there were two characters in the movie that they were made up. They were totally fictional. They didn't even exist in the life of Harriet Tubman, and both of them were black. In this movie, where a lot of the writers were white guys, just like The Color Purple, the two black characters, one was a male, one was a female. Pay attention now. And one of them was a big, mean, dark-skinned black man. They made this up. This is the guy they put in the movie. There's no historical context here. And then there's the black woman who was like a friend of Harriet Tubman's. And do y'all know that the black man murders the black woman in this movie? All made up. All made up. Are y'all getting? Give me a yes, please. Let me know if you're following this. How heavy that is. That when they literally imagine what's a relationship between a black man and a black woman going to look like, they had the black man murder the black woman. That was their vision of a relationship, because it completely came out of their spirit, came out of their imagination. And then here's the other crazy part that is hilarious. When Harriet had the opportunity to kill her white slave master, she did not kill him. She pulls the gun out like she's about to blow his brains out, and then she just shoots in the air and says, "It's wrong to make people into slaves. You shouldn't be enslaving people." And then he rides off on his horse. So you mean to tell me? But at the same time, the only man Harriet kills in this movie is that imaginary black man who murdered the black woman. How deep is that? Harriet Tubman, known for shooting people in the ass if they got out of line, the only person that Harriet kills in this whole movie is another black person. She lets the white people live. And I couldn't believe it. It was so fascinating to just see what happens when you have black stories that are created by non-black people. Now, I'm not really mad at them for making their stories. I'm not mad at them for pushing their agenda. I'm not mad at them for using their money for their purposes. What I am interested in is us remembering what part of the process we control, and that we have the choice of whether or not we want to participate in this nonsense. So I'm going to say this, and I feel bad. I know the Color Purple movie cost them a lot of money. They have $100 million budget or something like that, maybe more. I've heard a range between 100 and 200 million in terms of the amount of money they have to make for this to break even. I'm also not upset with anybody who chooses to go see the movie. If that's your thing, then feel free. But I am going to say I personally don't feel compelled to support the movie because there's nothing in it really for me. There's nothing in that movie that's going to make me feel good about being a black man. There's nothing in that movie that speaks to where we want our community to go. There's nothing in that movie that's black owned that I'm actually supporting. At best, I'm supporting a bunch of black employees who work for the white guy. Because the people that created Warner Brothers, the people that actually run Warner Brothers, are not people that look like us. But then again, maybe their movie will be a success, because I happen to study the financial situation right now at Warner Brothers, and from what I understand, they are struggling. And they're actually talking about acquiring Paramount, because they're all these Hollywood studios are struggling from streaming because they overspent on the streaming and all that. But that's a business conversation. We'll talk about that later. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's my 2 cents. That's my whole analysis of all of this. I don't have much else to say. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you so much. Don't forget that our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow Black Wealth Bootcamp for Children starts December 26th. if you'd like to receive the discount code to get 76% off, or a link to sign your child up, it's 3 straight days. Adrian Kirkendall, the author of Quantum Wealth Theory, will be the teacher, and we promise you, your child will be transformed. Where, I was a college professor at Syracuse, and so what we do is to get Black kids ahead. We don't want equality. We're not trying to make kids equal. We don't care about that stuff. We want Black kids to win. We want them to be ahead. So, because I'm a winner and you're a winner, and I want us to all be winners. So effectively, what we're going to do is your child, as young as 5, if they're 5 and up is the kind of the age range, we are going to give them economic concepts that will shape them for the rest of their lives. So if you'd like to join, the material is yours for life. You sign up one child, you can bring all 3. It's totally fine. You can share it with the whole family. The material is also yours for life. So if you'd like to receive the link to join, just text the word stock to 89748. Text stock to 89748. Also, I will text you guys the link to the financial consciousness training that I'm doing starting January 1st. We're going to meet for 30 straight days, and we're going to fill out my reflective journal called 30 Days to Wealth and Power. And at the end of the 30 days, you will have new financial habits. You will have a wealth plan for yourself and your family. I'm going to get you ahead. I'll take good care of you. So if you'd like to join that, I'll send you a link to join that as well. Just text the word stock to 89748, and the Black Business School has your back. And don't forget, this podcast is on Spotify. If you look up my name, you can find me there as well. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, everybody on Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance. I'll be back again real soon. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.